Breaking news! There are now new allegations against Michael Jackson by his former friends and confidants, the Cascio family, in what the estate is calling a $213 million shakedown. This is shocking but also not shocking, given that to most Michael Jackson fans, this is the family who perpetrated the biggest con in music history by claiming that 3 songs Eddie Cascio wrote were recorded by Michael Jackson himself. These songs appeared on the 2010 album Michael. 3 fake songs: Breaking News, Monster, and Keep Your Head Up. For those who don't know the story of this family's relationship with Michael, here's a quick recap. In 1984, Michael met Dominic Cascio, the general manager of the Helmsley Palace Hotel, a 5-star hotel in New York City, and a friendship formed. Dominic was a married man with children, and Michael would visit and stay at their New Jersey home, as well as travel with the family. They got to go on world tours and attend places like Disneyland and Israel. It was a really amazing friendship for the Cascios, and they considered Michael part of the family. Michael's friendship with his sons Frank and Eddie grew, and the boys often traveled with the King of Pop alone, famously to Argentina during the height of the 1993 allegations of child molestation by Jordy Chandler. Many were shocked that despite the serious allegations, Michael was still openly hanging out with young boys. But Michael did this to say to the world, "I'm not doing anything wrong, and I don't have to change because of false allegations." When the oldest Cascio child, Frank, became an adult, he became a personal assistant of Michael Jackson and managed many aspects of his life and career. His most successful contribution to Michael's career was organizing the 2 30th anniversary special concerts in New York that took place in September of 2001, just before the 9/11 tragedy. But in 2004, Frank was named as an unindicted co-conspirator in the Gavin Arvizo child molestation prosecution, given his close association with Michael. They basically alleged that Frank was helping cover things up and keep this family from talking to the press and the police. So Frank distanced himself from Michael to shield himself from future allegations of conspiracy. He was basically trying to save his own neck. He wouldn't even talk to Michael on the phone, and the two had a falling out because Michael felt snubbed and betrayed. Years after the trial, the two would reconcile. Michael even moved into Caccio's New Jersey home during what is considered as his exile years, between his 2005 acquittal and his 2009 rehearsals for the This Is It tour that took place in Los Angeles. After Michael's death in 2009, Frank Cascio released a book called My Friend Michael, a mostly positive and revealing book about the King of Pop that stated clearly, Michael's interest in young boys had absolutely nothing to do with sex. I can say this with the unassailable confidence of first-hand experience, the confidence of a young boy who slept in the same room as Michael hundreds of times. But what was most devious of Frank and his family is that they claimed Michael recorded 3 songs in their family basement: Breaking News, Keep Your Head Up, and Monster, all written and produced by younger brother Eddie Cascio. These songs were immediately called fake by the Jackson family when released after his death, and lawsuits ensued. But it wasn't until 2022, 12 years after their release, that Sony finally removed them from online streaming without admitting any guilt in the biggest con in music history. How much money Eddie Cascio made with these fake tracks is unknown, but we can assume millions. Now to these current reports of the Michael Jackson estate claiming that the Cascios are trying to shake them down for $213 million. The Washington Examiner reports that in 2019, with the release of the Leaving Neverland mockumentary, the estate contacted the Cascios with the hope that they would publicly refute these allegations made by Wade Robson and James Safechuck, just like they'd done many times in the past. But to their shock, the family said they had their own salacious stories to share. In order to silence them, the estate came to an agreement of a $15 million hush money payment, $3 million to 5 of the Cascios. But what is known is that now the Cascios want more. They have threatened to breach their non-disclosure agreement and spread their stories if they don't get cash. This is why the estate is now going public and saying they are being extorted by the Cascios. This is a shakedown. They have filed an arbitration claim. meaning that the Cascios lawyers and the estate lawyers must go to arbitration and come to some sort of agreement. Arbitration is basically getting in a room and talking it out. But let's keep two things in mind. One, this family has always said that nothing sexual ever happened, and Frank Cascio has said this in interviews and in his book. And the second thing to keep in mind is that this family is considered extremely sketchy because of the fake songs they pretended Michael Jackson recorded in their basement studio. They have no credibility whatsoever. They even went on Oprah and said that these were real songs. No true fan believes that Michael Jackson is singing on those songs. The Cascios and Sony refused to release the unedited vocals for the world to listen to because they knew that it wasn't MJ, and they're hiding it. Now, Michael Jackson left his DNA all over his unedited recordings. In between singing his parts, he would be humming, sometimes talking, tapping his feet, clicking his fingers, and when he'd finish his take, he'd talk to the producer. Just like you hear at the end of the song, Love Never Felt So Good. He speaks. Also the song, Fall Again. Michael makes a comment about a cool instrument. He would do this because Michael knew that it could be edited out. He'd done his take, and now he can talk. Michael was also famous for mic bleed, meaning the song he was listening to in his headphones was so loud that it would be picked up by his microphone. The Cascio tracks have none of these elements, so they're fake, and they've now been removed from streaming. So what's next? This is uncertain. Will the estate give them more money? Will they sue the Cascios for all they have? Will the Cascios release claims against Michael Jackson, trying to derail the upcoming biopic? Another thing I discovered is that Frank Cascio had hoped to make a mini-series based upon his book Michael, My Friend, but this got shelved after the mockumentary Leaving Neverland was released. Is this lawsuit part of some sour grapes over that shelved project? A project that would have made him millions of dollars? Time will tell. But I want to close on this. The Cascios track Breaking News opens with the line, "We've got the things to destroy Michael Jackson." Was this always a threat on the cards? Stay tuned.